Hi, besties. Thank you for joining me this week. I am flying solo because, well, our friend Giorgio, listen, he was having some internet problems, and that's one of those things you just don't have total control over. You know what I mean? So, you're stuck with just me today, but there's a lot to cover, and you better believe I'm going to talk about it. Yes, I am. I will be covering Orange County, but I mean, how can I talk about Orange County without, well, discussing the news of the week? Wow. So let's just go ahead and get the big ol' pink elephant in the room out of the way. We all know Shannon Storms Bedore got a DUI. They're in Newport Beach, Orange County. And listen, I'm just going to start off with this. It, terrible. Okay. There's no other way to put it. I also, mm, I wasn't a fan of hammering into Gina about the DUI she got, and I'm not into the idea of hammering this type of thing into someone once they are taking accountability for it, taking responsibility. Still not okay. Um, I don't understand how this day and age where anyone is getting a DUI, especially if they have the money for something like a Lyft or an Uber, something like that. Okay, public transportation is practically non-existent in Los Angeles the way it should be. Not that I thought Shannon Bedore was going to be taking public transport to go home, especially because she had Archie with her. Um, so let's just, all of that's out of the way. Bad, bad, bad. Don't do it. Just don't do it. There was a time when all these stars were getting DUIs out in LA, and part of that is because there was no such thing as Uber or Lyft at that time. There were only taxis, and if you didn't happen to have the exact amount of cash you needed for it, you were screwed. And forget trying to use a credit card in a taxi or a debit card. You're going to be lucky if they don't charge you like a $10 service fee for a $5 ride. It was ridiculous. Okay, so again, no excuses here. Believe me, I'm not making excuses for anyone. I'm just saying now, especially, I don't know how you can be getting a DUI like that. Okay, so first of all, we are not going to be getting any type of mugshot. And the reason is that Orange County does not release mugshots of people. So, especially for DUI cases. So get that out of the way, everyone. We're not going to be getting a mugshot. So from what it sounds like, Shannon was at a birthday party kind of celebration for Jeff Lewis's boyfriend, Stu, and she was actually there with Taylor. And this is where some of the stories are getting a little confusing. I keep going back and forth trying to figure out exactly where Shannon was that night. Regardless, she ended up at, well, John Jansen's house because it was John Jansen's neighborhood where she ends up doing her whole hit and run. It's alleged that Shannon and John were fighting and they could be heard fighting in his house, again, allegedly. And she leaves with Archie in her car and she goes around, if I'm able to, I'll play the video here on YouTube. If you're listening, check out the YouTube. You can see, I don't know, not that my facial expressions are all that exciting, but I do hear you can read everything I'm thinking on my face. So, that being said, I'll try and play the video. It was from TMZ. And if I'm able to play the video, I'll play it as I'm talking right now. And she makes this really quick turn, and it looks like to the left, where she lost control of the car and she ends up hitting basically like a planter and a concrete curb. And the way it had been, I will say, worded in the media was it sounded like she ran into a home and she didn't actually like run into a home, but she definitely hit the front, hit something, did some damage, right? And so she backs up, takes off, and leaves. Now, the cops were able to find her by trailing the oil that was spilling out of her car to where her car was. Now, where was her car? Well, when the cops found her, she had made an attempt to park her car, right? Well, she parked it in the middle of the street, allegedly, And they found her walking Archie, and she was trying to act as though she was walking her dog and not driving her car. And they said that the cops said that they could tell she was very visibly incoherent, we'll put it that way, under the influence. Okay. They booked her. This all happened, it was Friday night. So all day Saturday, nothing came out, all day Sunday. And then it was Monday that it ends up coming out like first thing in the morning. Y'all, I was on my way to, to the cult I joined, Orange Theory, and I'm sitting in my car like, what? God damn it, Shannon. So there's that. Now, it would seem that Shannon is back together with John Jansen because she did resurface afterward with what looks like a sling on her arm. Jeff Lewis had said on his radio show that he knows she was injured, no one else was injured, that he has never known Shannon in all the years he has known her to ever drink and drive. And I hope not. I hope that this was an isolated experience and incident. And I hope that, this is the only time something like this happens, period. So, that being said, Jeff also stated that in all the years he's known Shannon, he does not believe she is an alcoholic, but that she has been going through a really difficult time and leaning on alcohol too much for that. I'm not in the business of labeling someone an alcoholic or not, okay? A drug addict or not, any type of addiction or not, okay? I'm not a medical professional and y'all aren't here for medical advice. So I don't know. I do know that we have seen Shannon have some big ol' issues with alcohol, especially this season. The fact that she's forgetting the phone calls she's making. We watched her literally forget something she said about Gina that was on camera. So I just want to also make it known that I'm not negating any of that. Believe me. It does look like, Jeff said that Shannon had broken her arm. We haven't received any confirmation on anything of any sort directly from Shannon or Shannon's camp. I also need to say that. But apparently she had some bruises on her face, which, I mean, it's really, really hard to tell from the photographs that TMZ took of her outside of, I believe it was John's home. Jeff also said that she was going into brain short circuited. It happens sometimes. Jeff said that she was going into counseling this week. And then the Daily Mail reported that Shannon was going to rehab. Those are two completely and totally different things. Nothing has been confirmed. Let's just put it that way. Again, it turns out Shannon really didn't think this was maybe going to get out. On the Two Teas in a Pod, Tamara calls in to Teddy and is bawling hysterically. And this was also on Monday. And she says that she was on a phone call with Shannon the day before, and literally Shannon did not say a word about any of it. And allegedly Shannon was very, very, very upset that this got out. And she didn't think, she really thought her attorney was going to be able to keep this under wraps. So there's all of that being said. Oh my God. Because then after this, I tried to send this to Giorgio actually when she posted it. Vicky posts a promo for the Trace Amigas show that was supposed to be actually today's Thursday, this evening in Phoenix. And she's like, get your tickets. And I'm like, girl, I don't think Shannon's showing up for that show. Forget it. They were apparently going to be wanting to do Trace Amigas, like tequila, all this stuff. I remember listening to Two Teas in a Pod, and Tamara had said that they were getting signed at CAA. CAA is not a low ball small agency. That is top 5 world agency. Let me just put it in those terms. I mean, CAA is like, I don't know. I can't put it in sports references because I don't know shit. Maybe if you know college football, I'd say CAA is like see, there I go. Like even just like freezing up from that. We'll say USC or Louisiana. Is that? No, Georgia. Georgia. Yeah. That's where Joe Burrow's played, right? Okay. So, yeah, this is not good. for them. But listen, if Shannon is actually having some issues, which more stories are coming out, more blinds that again, they're none of them can be totally corroborated with the actual people, as in Shannon and Taylor, who were supposedly there at some of these events where allegedly they were drunk, like a Morgan Wallen concert, I guess. And there's just been a lot of stuff going on, or going around, I should say, about alleged drunken incidents. Okay. And there's that. So, how about it will, okay, before I just like brush past okay, now moving on. I believe we will hear more. Shannon is goddamn lucky that this all happened after the reunion because oh my god, could you imagine? Gina, it's frustrating because Gina is over somewhere yonder cackling her ass off. Shannon, let's I hope we get the help we need, okay? Now, I don't know if y'all saw this, but the woman there's a video going around, not the one of a woman getting kicked off a plane, not the one where she's, yelling, "That motherfucker back there is not real." Not that one. This is a different one. This really like hot looking chick is going off of her plane, walking off of it, and she's like calling everyone bums, and she's like looking at the camera that someone is taking the video of her. And she goes basically like, "Oh yeah, that's great. I'm Instagram famous." Well, if you happen to have seen that, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, go on again. Lots of TMZ references here today, but go on TMZ because they have like at least two stories dedicated to this woman. And she is allegedly Lenny Hochstein's ex-mistress. Yes, I did have a friend ask me, well, wait, I thought, the only one was Katerina. No, it's not. Allegedly, Lenny had an emotional affair with this woman named Morgan Osmond. She was also on the show Bad Girls Club. I've never seen that show, just FYI. I the name is pretty self-explanatory. But what's also interesting is, did I say the part where it was allegedly an emotional, quote unquote? Yeah, emotionally hugging his penis, I'm sure. Affair that she had with Lenny Hochstein. And Morgan sent Lisa Hochstein flowers when the news broke of them divorcing due to his cheating with Katerina. Isn't that interesting? I mean, the way all roads lead to Bravo. Here's another one. Andy Cohen made a cameo on the new season of American Horror Story, the one with Kim Kardashian. And the main character, who is played by Emma Roberts, goes on Watch What Happens Live, and Kim Kardashian plays her publicist. And she ends up saying something like, "Oh, yeah, I killed someone to get this part." And Andy's like, "Oh, who was it?" And she says, "Well, I can't tell you, but it's someone that will just not be missed." And so Andy goes, "Who? Tom Sandoval?" And she like makes a joke like, "No, but I did bang him to get on to this show, Watch What Happens Live." So that was rather interesting to see. And then I also want to share with you the new cast. That's why I was kind of like a short circuiting again. Please bear with me. The new cast of season 2 of Traitors. Now, this cast, oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm going to run through some of these. I don't know who some of these people are, but there are quite a few I do know who they are. So Karsten Bergensen from Love Island USA. I am purely loyal to Love Island UK. I just absolutely am. Sorry. We all know who Chris CT Tamburello from The Challenge, CT. Dan Giesling, I don't watch Big Brother. Deontay Wilder, Ekin-Su from Love Island UK, Janelle Pierzina from Big Brother, Johnny Bananas from The Challenge, John Burkow from UK Parliament, Kevin Kreider from Bling Empire, Larsa Pippen, y'all know who Larsa is, and then her boyfriend, Marcus Jordan is joining her. Okay. Um, Now I'm going to butcher his last name. Bear with me. Maxim Chermakovsky from Dancing with the Stars. We all know who Maxim is. Guess who else? MJ. Yep. Mercedes Javid, Shaws of Sunset. Then Parvati Shallow from Survivor. Peppermint from RuPaul's Drag Race. Peter Weber, The Bachelor. Phaedra. Yes. Phaedra Parks from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Duh. Then we have Sandra Diaz Twine from Survivor. Sheree. Yes, Sheree Whitfield from Atlanta. And then we have Tamra Judge. You know Tamra joining. And then Trishelle Canatella. Do y'all remember Trishelle from Real World? Wow, that is a throwback. I know there were a bunch of rumors that Lindsay Hubbard was going to be joining, which, listen, I think that would have been fantastic. I would have loved to see her get some of that like Ariana bag going after this whole thing with Carl, because on top of that, Lindsay is actually going to go ahead and go on her bachelorette getaway this weekend. And I say, hell yes, girl, go do your thing. You don't have to be getting married to have your bachelorette. There, I said it. How about that for a spin? You do not have to be getting married to go on that bachelorette style girls trip. I hope she has a blast. The more information we're still getting from all of that is that there was a lot of fighting over the summer. Nothing new there, right? No breaking news. And there are some people saying that basically we may not just be purely Team Lindsay once we see it all play out. I don't know. Until then, I'm Team Lindsay, and I say, girl, you go enjoy that bachelorette getaway. God damn it. So I'm going to take a very short break. I'm sorry, friends, it has to be like a little bit of a commercial break. And then I'm going to jump into Orange County. Okay. I'll be right back. Thank you for sticking around. Okay. So this is going to be a slightly shorter recap than I usually do my solo episodes, only because I had written this out anticipating Giorgio joining me. Again, it's not his fault. Wi-Fi can be such a son of a bitch sometimes, you know what I mean? And so it's just not going to be quite as like extremely and severely detailed as I can get. So that's just an FYI. So we pick back up at the table where, you know what, Emily points out that Tamra brought up new people at the gym for Jen regarding Ryan, that Ryan was allegedly banging, and that maybe Tamara could have a little bit of empathy for Jen about this. And Tamara ends up saying, you all know me. When do I ever sugarcoat anything? And then Gina's like, well, maybe you should sprinkle a little on this. Then Emily says it's all Vicky's fault, and Heather points out it all comes from a bad game of Truth or Dare. And Tamara says, Vicky always fucks up my life. And Vicky is denying this, of course. But we get a repeat of but one of the most classic Tamara lines. It was the follow-up of, no, I'm sorry, it was before she said, that's my opinion. But anyway, Tamara ends up saying, I don't think he's good for her. You know, listen, I get it. Tamara's trying to look out for Jen, but God, okay? So Jen calls Ryan to talk about Tamara's allegations, and she says to him that he needs to tell her now if there's anything he hasn't told her regarding, sleeping with someone for a year on her while she was with him, right? And, well, his answer, Ryan goes, babe, you already know that answer, and you know there's ... nothing. You know there was never anything. Boy, get the out of here. God, you are so glad and lucky, Ryan, that Jen is very clearly that girl who has not dated around enough, right? She hasn't dated enough of you fuckboys or encountered enough of you absolute trash bag fuckboys. I'm sorry, but it's just to know that you are pulling one of the most classic type of lines on here. Oh, babe, come on, you know the truth about us. You know the answer to that. Don't fall for what the other bitches are saying. Oh my God. I mean, honest to God, it's like, that moment, however many episodes ago, when Jen and Ryan were in the bathroom and he's standing there just in his towel because, oh my God, we so needed that visual and everything. Anyway, and she says to him, what is it about me that's going to make it different for you to go ahead and commit after you couldn't even commit to someone you were with since junior high? Remember this? And you could tell he was so relieved when she took his answer that was, well, because it's you. You're the part that's different. You're the one vagina I only want. You're the set of boobies I want. Like, really? In that look on his face, after she accepts his, because it's you. That look, y'all go back and look at this man's face. The way he was like, oh, that was a close one. Oh my God, I can't believe she bought that. I mean, you couldn't get more obvious with me, my friends. You couldn't get more obvious. But the thing is, if Jen knew the answer to what Tamara has alleged, she wouldn't be calling him this way. She would be calling Ryan in tears over what Tamara said to her about ruining her family. She wouldn't be calling him to ask, is there anything you need to tell me? She wouldn't be calling him with that. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that would be the thing. I think she would do that maybe in private whenever she got back home, but it wouldn't be something she needs to ask right then and there. Because she does say to him, if I'm going to sit here defending us and there's more I don't know about, and you don't, just hit the desk, excuse me, and you don't tell me, then I'm going to completely fall to pieces if I have to sit there and defend us like this, and there's something you didn't disclose. And so, I also think it would be wise if Jen literally just did a reverse psychology on Ryan, okay? Just hear me out. If she were to literally just go, yeah, babe, you know what? I want to know the truth. And I mean, I think we both actually know what it is. And Ryan, I know you've been sleeping with other people for a year. I'm not even mad. I just want to move on. Let's just get it out there. Okay? I just want to get it out there and we'll move on. That's the truth that I know, okay? I'm not mad. Let's just keep going. And in fact, why don't we bring her in the bedroom too? Guarantee it, he would fess up immediately. Okay? Also, there's someone, if you hear pounding, they're working on a unit nearby. It's like the bane of my existence, okay? Bear with me. But yeah, I think Ryan would absolutely fall for that. He certainly is not the sharpest or brightest crayon in that big old box out there, is he? No. Then Jen says in her confessional, which I found a very interesting choice of words, if you ask me, that she wishes her marriage would have worked. She ends up saying, I loved my husband. I loved my family. I held up my end. Just hold up your end. What exactly was that bargain, Jen? Don't need any answers for that, but at the same time, that's... You hear what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm throwing down, my friends? Yeah. Okay. Wasn't exactly a good... Yeah. So the women are all getting ready to go on their excursions, and Tamara, Shannon, Emily, and Gina go swim with the sea turtles, which fun. Okay, love. The water did look a little scary to me. I mean, should the water be that green? I don't know. I haven't been allowed to go to that. I haven't had an opportunity, I should say, to go to that many beaches. I would love to experience that, so that's just me being jealous. They all get on the Sprinter, and Shannon goes, I have some information about the turtles. John says you can't touch them because they have bacteria. I know we're all like super disappointed in Shannon. Hear me out, but you cannot because Shannon was like 1000% that kid that would go to her friends and be like, well, my mommy said I can't go to the park because there's chlamydia on the slide. You know she was that kid. So come on. Like, you could totally see it. So then Emily brings up that she can't believe Heather called her a snuffleupagus, which, yeah, I quite frankly still can't believe she called her that either. We do get the flashbacks of all of it where Gina says Heather, and then Gina is saying that Heather isn't aware of what she says sometimes. And Emily's trying to make Heather aware of how the things she says come across, because sometimes it's hurtful. Like, oh my God, if someone called me a snuffleupagus, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be fucking pissed, okay? Don't fucking call me that. Jesus, don't call me anything that someone shoves their hand up inside of and uses that hand to pretend they are talking for it. Okay? Ugh. Anyway, and so one of the flashbacks is where Heather says, Emily, look. Emily, look, these are like your boobs, these cookies. Like, these are like your big, nice boobs. Listen, not all women who have naturally full and voluptuous breasts and booties and hips want to have those things be so naturally full and voluptuous. In fact, I was having a conversation with someone the other day about how she's going to be getting a breast reduction. And I thought, God damn, listen, you're like, not to be like staring at your chest, but my God, they're beautiful. I mean, but she was telling me, hey, she'd been dreaming of having this done since like a reduction since she was like 12 years old. Don't talk about that shit. That's so weird. And I know that was like Heather's weird way of trying to be funny, but like, I don't know. The skinniest person in the room shouldn't be making those comments. If you want to make a comment like that, it needs to be a genuine, oh my God, look at these cookies. I wish they were like I wish my boobs were like these cookies. Just see where I'm saying? Like, don't talk about the other girl's body, especially like I said, when you're the skinniest fucking bitch in the room. So Gina ends up saying that she thinks Heather's shit goes way back to her childhood. And good God, y'all, I completely forgot about Heather's mother that we got last season. It explains everything. It really does. It explains everything of who Heather is. So, I mean, listen, we did need this flashback of when Heather's mother was making fun of Heather. And then Heather saying to her mom, oh, Mom, don't drink that. And Heather, stop it. And then her mom's looking at the waiter and goes, now that is how you set a table. And she had reset the table. They were at like Geisha House in New York. And then Heather's saying to her mom in this flashback, oh, we used, or no, Heather's mom said, they used to call me Smother. And Heather says, we still do. So, it really, truly does explain, well, again, everything. God, this is so horrifying that we can really blame everything on our mothers, can't we? God damn, isn't that so fun to be a mother or not? I'm sure it's fun not to be one too. I forget what that's like. I love my child very much. Do not take that and run with it, okay? So then, I'm sorry, just skipped ahead. See, sometimes I get too excited going in through my notes. But in confessional, Gina says, it's so easy to label Heather as a rich bitch, but it's not what it is. Heather doesn't mean to offend anybody. She's just so fucking good at it naturally. Okay. Okay, Gina. Yes. Okay. So Vicky in their Sprinter van, because who is she with? Vicky's with Heather and Taylor and Jen. And Vicky starts telling this story about how a woman who was parasailing in front of her condo there in Mexico in February, and how she got we've all heard these stories. Parasailing is extremely dangerous, okay? And she got detached and sailed around. There was bad weather and she landed on a roof and allegedly they couldn't get her down. So this is how I know that Vicky was the kid that was very similar to Shannon, except she was the one that was more like, my mommy said I can't go to the park because there was a girl who went down the slide and it was raining and it was really slick and she slid all the way to the creek and they couldn't get her out. That was Vicky as a child, okay? You know what I mean? You know that kid. You know exactly who I'm talking about. And Shannon in their van is trying to clarify the whole thing about how Heather allegedly said to Emily and Gina that Shannon was talking shit on them when they were at BravoCon in New York. Love how we end up getting this clarification, because this was going to be very obnoxious to take the rest of the season, even though next week, how is it the season finale? That is wild to me, okay? So they go on their excursions, and so fortunate for us, we get to find out Vicky had a happy ending massage, and she said it felt like rubbing your feet. Okay, well, I'm so sorry that I just, you know what? I would at that point, I'm absolutely not going to take Vicky up on any invitation to go get pedicures together. I don't want to be sitting next to her when she's getting her feet rubbed, if that's what she compares it to. What kind of foot rubs are you getting, Vicky? Also, how bad of the happy ending was it? I have more questions than I do answers at the end of this. Love how, okay, I'm sorry. I keep skipping ahead, y'all. I apologize. So they're snorkeling, the girls that are the Shannon, Tamra, Gina, and Emily crew. And Gina, I thought, was absolutely positively terrified of water. And I don't know, for some reason, she didn't have that shtick going when she went to go snorkel the sea turtles. But Tamara did joke that when someone was like, "Why are there so many warm spots?" Tamara's like, "That's Gina peeing." Okay, so cute little turtle. Did that turtle have baby sharks on its back? I should have done some research on some like marine biology shit because that was so cute. Oh. Then Vicky and Heather parasailing is everything I needed and more in this rather somber week, we'll call it somber, reflective. And Vicky is having an absolute coronary while parasailing. You know what? I don't blame her. I am not the person to take parasailing either. If you want to know the truth, I don't like roller coasters. I don't want to go parasailing. Not that anyone invited me. Don't invite me because I am not going to be the fun one for that. Okay. Like maybe I'll try like wakeboarding or I'll try surfing, but you are absolutely not going to get my ass up in the air. Okay. We all know how dangerous it is. And that's it. Plain and simple. Not doing it. Okay. Don't invite me. I am the Vicky, and I would have been crying if I were up in the air like that. I'm just saying. But I did love that Heather says while she's up there with Vicky, let's think of a calming moment. We're at Kodo Insurance. There's post-it notes, there's yellow legal pads, there's staplers, there's all kinds of good office supplies. And we get all these flashes of Kodo Insurance offices. And listen, girl, okay. That was hilarious. And then like Heather's raising her arm on the in the parasail thing, and Taylor says on the boat, "Oh, she's saying go faster." Laughing my fucking ass off. Okay, friends, I am because I can't tell if Heather's joking or not. I'm pretty sure she's not. I mean, Heather, if Taylor's joking or not. So then they finally come down and Vicky screams her way onto the boat and then she goes to the side and immediately vomits. I mean, it doesn't get more Vicky than that. If only she had tripped as all that happened. The other boat is taking shots of tequila through their snorkels. Hey, girls, you know what? Do you have some fun? It looked disgusting, if you ask me. I can't do that. So they all go to dinner, and I guess Emily and Vicky are both a bit tipsy. And Emily is getting help from Gina. See, ever since I saw that Gina should be named Emily and Emily should be named Gina, I cannot get it out of my head. I am completely effed in the head now. I'm gonna be effed in the head until this season is over. So I'm so sorry. I'm going to be obnoxious on that level that I am going to mix them both up because it is so purely true that their names should be switched. Okay, so Gina is helping Emily put her shoes on and oh my God. It's so hard for me right now. And Emily falls into the tub. And then Vicky, I guess she went and had a couple beers at a beer shack hut thing. And then we get more information on how you let someone know you want a happy ending massage from Vicky. Then Shannon randomly at dinner brings up to Jen that she has a theory about Montana when Jen and Tamara were discussing how Tamara knew about this dick pic that was sent to Heather Amin and the girl that Ryan banged while he and Jen were on a break. I'm not saying Heather Amin and the girl he banged while they were on a break are the same person because we got the information that the girl he banged while they were on a break's name was Alex. Anyway. There we go. Okay. And Shannon's theory, I guess, is that she doesn't think that Jen and Tamara actually resolved anything. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Wow, that was such an astute observation, Shannon. Tell me. Um, because I think they kind of did move on, but then all it takes is one person to bring up one little tiny thing. Like they maybe don't even have to say the name Ryan because it could be like, hey, Tamara, don't you have a son? Oh my God, Ryan fucked someone else for a year while he was with Jen. I was talking about your son, Ryan. Oh, well, I mean, it could be anything and it lights a match, right? So, anyway, yes, Jen claims that she had thought that they had moved on, and Tamara's like, "Yeah, I thought the same." And then Tamara agrees, obviously, and Vicky says, "Ryan's the dirty one. I'm talking to you as a woman to woman. You've got 5 kids. You should have made that marriage work. No man is worth that. Okay? I'm just telling you I regret it." Vicky, STFU. Seriously. I love you to death for who you are. Congrats on the Lifetime Achievement Award that you're getting. But STFU, God. And that's really what everyone kind of jumps in to say for the most part. Um, Especially Gina, who's saying, "You don't even know her. You can't come in here on her vacation. You don't know her history." She's like really big on like ruining the vacation here. And Vicky's trying to tell Gina not to talk to her like that. And she's saying not to blame her for all of this because she doesn't know anything. And Gina points out that this is exactly her point. You don't know her. So don't come into our vacation and attack on one of the girls that are on our vacation. And Emily says to Gina, "Well, she didn't attack her." And Vicky says to Gina, "How about you stay out of it?" I did not bring this up. I'm trying to eat my chicken wings over here. Okay. All right. So in confessional, basically, Gina is all love for Jen, and she's saying she made a mistake and that Vicky saying she ruined her family feels mean-spirited. But, well, Emily, Gina, fuck me. I told you I was going to get their names mixed up forever, okay? It is forever in my brain. God damn it. Anyway, but Gina, it was Tamara who said she ruined her family, not Vicky. We have not seen Vicky say that Jen ruined her family. Okay? There. So Vicky points out that she left her husband for a loser and she regrets it and just goes on and on about how she left a good man for a shitty one. And Jen points out that Vicky says things like how she loves marriage, and then Jen says, "Well, you know what? So did I. And I've told the girls before, it's like mourning, but they're still alive." And she's tearing up. And she says she doesn't know why she wasn't woman enough for him regarding Will. And in confessional, Jen ends up saying she has guilt for the things she's done and that she kind of feels like she deserves it when she's getting all this shit dished out at her. And that's part of why she takes it the way she does. It's because she feels that she deserves it. And I honestly believe that that's how she feels. So I think we need to go a little easier on Jen. Sorry, I think we do. Listen, whatever. Anyway, so then we find they leave dinner. Shannon forgot her toothbrush and didn't brush her teeth for 5 days. Y'all, that one got me. Okay. Fucking nasty. She says in confessional, I just kept thinking someone was going to get me one. I just used my towel. I'm dying from all of that. Thank you very much. Okay. So they all go to the Sprinter van, and Heather finally started following Emily on Instagram, I guess. And it's brought up. And Heather says to Emily, "When I left the friend group," instead of saying when she left the show, just throwing that out there. "And I had FOMO, and we talked about this. I unfollowed everyone because I didn't want to see it." And Emily points out how Heather says that sometimes she feels like she doesn't fit in and that maybe things like that, or, i.e., her not even following her castmates on Instagram might contribute to that. And this is where Heather's saying, "I'm sure it's all my fault." And Emily's like, "I didn't say that." And Heather says, "Well, it always comes back to being my fault." And then Gina chimes in, "That is your fault, though." Yes, it is her fault she wasn't following them on Instagram. Like, Jesus, what is the big deal sometimes with these women following people on Instagram or not? What, like, honestly, I find it obnoxious, okay? Who gives a shit if your following number, as in the number of people you are following, is a certain number or not? It drives me nuts for some reason. It just does. And so then Tamara is telling Heather, take it down a notch, Debra. And Heather is saying that following someone on social media is personal and that they're all twisting everything she's saying. And Gina tells her that it actually is simple because if you're friends with someone, then you follow them on social media, period. And Heather's like, okay, well, I just followed you. And in confessional, Emily says that it just looks bad because it looks like she's putting herself on a pedestal. Like, they follow me because they are the peasants and the peons, but I don't follow them because I am the queen. So Emily tries to joke with them, because Heather's like, are we good now? And Emily just is like, well, I just want to let you know I blocked you. Okay. The joke barely even goes over because in confessional, Heather ends up saying how she feels like she's the punching bag and she just wants to be quiet until it's time to go home. And they're all getting out and Heather says she's going home. And Tamara's like, what? Like, you live in Mexico now? And Shannon, and Tamara are actually asking if she's serious. And Heather says, maybe. And Vicky points out how Heather feels like she's being picked on. And, Vicky's saying, it's a shitty place to be. And so Shannon ends up saying, and Heather's not in the van anymore at this point. Shannon says, well, I haven't had my conversation with her yet. Great, because let's just pile it on. So we hear that Heather is on the phone with Terry, and she's saying, all these girls are so all over me for anything I fucking say or do. I hate them all. I just want to go home. I hate them all. Burn them down. And she's crying. And look, here's the problem. I don't like it when everyone gangs up on one person. At least in this regard, don't like it at all. Really don't. Because then I end up having empathy for the one person getting ganged up on because I don't think that's fair, okay? That's really uncomfortable. It's embarrassing, and it's just not okay. So now you guys have to hear me empathize with Heather a lot. There we go. So Tamara, Shannon, Vicky, and Jen all go to the shaman, which, oh my God, you guys, I don't know how many shamans we have had across our Housewives franchises, but let's just say like 5 more than I thought we needed because something about the shamans aren't working. And apparently Vicky and Tamara have no idea what a shaman is really what we can conclude there. And Shannon is saying in confessional, I believe in this stuff, so heal me. Heal me. So Emily, Gina, Heather, and Taylor go shopping at a unique little place, and Heather is clearly pissed off to hell. And in confessional, she's saying how she's at a breaking point and basically done with all of it. That, she's beyond being able to handle it all right now. And she's had to deal with people being mean to her before, but this is just too much. She's really hit her breaking point. And Taylor is asking Heather if she's okay. And Heather says she's just tired of it all and doesn't want to talk anymore. And in confessional, Heather's saying, should I confide in Taylor? I don't know. I could do something terrible, like say she's cute. I mean, I really have nothing left to lose. So she tells Taylor she doesn't feel like she fits in and everything. And she feels like everything she says gets turned and twisted. And Taylor tells her some of this is kind of just the truth. It makes sense. She's the most honest with her out of anyone. Taylor says, I think you don't get as much of a hall pass on things as other people may think because they feel it's like, oh, she thinks she's better than me. And I think it's the money. And then Heather, there's the rich bitch, says, oh, I'm not apologizing for having money. Okay. And Taylor's like, no, I wouldn't apologize for it either. But that they feel inferior to her because of it. And listen, I feel inferior to Heather. My God, she would make me nervous. That's just a fact. And also Heather would probably not do anything to not make me feel inferior to her. But Heather starts tearing up and says she wants to go home and just be with her family. And after the shaman session, Jen and Tamara hug, and Tamara apologizes to Jen. And Jen's like, I may have sucker tattooed on my forehead, but I'm just going to try and move on. I want our friendship to be where it was before. And so they go to lunch, and this place is pretty incredible. I don't know if you all saw, like, when they panned out with the drone, that these little cabanas are basically like nests, and it looked really, really cool. I found it really fascinating to look at. But they all have to take their shoes off to walk over to the table because it's rope netting, and Shannon is getting flashbacks of the rope course, and she's having a full entire mentee bee over this. She is literally hollering at the staff and Vicky, no, no, don't push me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. She tries to put a foot out on one of the she puts a foot out on one of the pads and she crumples dramatically to her ass. And no, I can't do that. I can't do it. I can't do it. And then she's crawling on her hands and knees on this boardwalk thing with her nude colored Spanx hanging out of the back of her dress. When they realized they could have just walked around and walked directly onto the table. And right as Shannon sits down and Vicky discovers that they can do that, they all decide it's too hot over there and that there's a table inside that's very easy to get to that they should just go sit at instead. I would have been like, you bitches. They let Shannon go through an entire mental breakdown over that. Emily is still wearing her crown from the shopping trip, which, like, okay, girl, like, be queen. We love a good queen. And this is where we get another big scene. And because Gina starts asking about the shaman session and what happened, and Jen is saying how they had to set an intention, and Gina squints her eyes about, everything Jen is saying, and she's like, yeah, set an intention. Yeah. Like, bitch, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. Okay. So Jen says she has, conflicting thoughts in her head, and she wants to come in whole, as in a whole person with them as women. And this is when Emily jumps in and tells her how she's been asked about how she knows Jen and that people ask her about Ryan. And that basically she just tells them Jen's an adult woman and she can do whatever she wants to do. She can make her own decisions. And that's basically her shit to deal with. And that they're all going to support her as best they can. And she wants to get to know Jen without the Ryan aspect because Ryan doesn't define her as a person, which facts, bestie. And Vicky's boyfriend is brought up, and Gina asks Vicky if she thinks she's going to marry him. And Vicky tells her that she wants to, but they're both just not there yet. And this is when Heather says, this is the first time I've heard you say I can't give 100%. And this is a moment they want us to be like, oh, damn, because we get the cymbals clashing of the tss. And we get some looks from Vicky and from Tamara. And Heather continues on saying, because ever since I've known you, you've always liked to dive in, which makes me sad and happy at the same time. Then Tamara randomly says, wait, I have a question, Heather. You said in Montana that Shannon's not all in when it comes to John. Let Tammy Sue get messy. So we get the flashbacks of Tamara talking about Heather, saying that Shannon isn't all in until we finally get to the one moment that Tamara was talking about in Montana when Tamara says about Shannon, I just find it weird that she never stays over at his house. And then Heather, all she said was quite nonchalantly, well, maybe she's not 100% in. Okay. Now, friends, I know we're supposed to go, okay, no, they were saying this off camera, I'm sure, and they were doing that off camera. We also can't speculate too far off of what they were and weren't doing off camera. We have to take what we are seeing at face value. And that, my friends, was not that big of a fucking deal. I'm sorry it wasn't. Like, Jesus, what was the deal with that? It wasn't. Because those were my exact thoughts about it. And just right after my thoughts of that roll in, Heather saying she doesn't recall there at the table that I don't recall saying that. And in confessional, she points out that it's not a big deal. that she said maybe Shannon isn't all in. The way she was saying it was not a big fucking deal. But it's the way Tamara is saying she said it that it seems like she's trying to get Shannon to get mad at her, at Heather. And Heather says, why is she doing that? Did I run over her cat? And we get this meow sound. And that's one of two shows we got very particular animal sounds in the middle of. Salt Lake City was the other one this week that we got that. And so then Heather explains that the comments Shannon has made have led her to believe that maybe she's figuring it out, quote unquote, figuring it out. And Shannon is like, then use those words. Don't say I'm not all in. So Heather is now fully at her limit, okay? And God damn it, if I am not empathizing with her, because I do see, like, I see both sides where it's like, listen, Heather, you do need to be policed on calling someone a snuffleupagus. What the fuck? And there are moments where it's like, okay, you are being slightly over-policed, but at the same time, I also think you tend to police people on these type of things. So where do we draw that line? Okay, that's what I would like to know. So then that's when, like I said, Heather has reached her limit, and Heather says, I just don't want to be word policed anymore. Not everyone says the right word at every time. My intention is to say that maybe she's figuring it out. Heather, you said something to Emily on Wednesday behind backs again, that I said something horrible about Emily in New York. So thank you. We finally get the clarification about the BravoCon shit-talking incident, all right? Heather goes, I didn't say it was Shannon, by the way. I said Tamara was the one who was talking about you guys. The look on Heather's face, oh my God. It was like, death. In confessional, Heather clarifies that she said it was Tamara. And then Emily in confessional says, well, I guess it was Tamara that Heather was referring to that apparently said bad things about me and Gina in New York. And Gina's like, it's what I thought. It was Tamara. She said Tamara. And then Heather says in her confessional, I didn't understand that Emily misheard. I thought that she was just making it up. And then you know what? Emily's going after me and passing the baton along for the next person to go after me. So fuck you. Woo. Okay. Shannon says in confessional how it was ruining her entire trip, that this was hanging over her head, that Heather had allegedly said that Shannon was talking shit on Emily and Gina when it was actually Heather saying that Tamara was talking shit on Emily and Gina. And so that was causing Shannon to spiral in her 9-lemon bowl. Okay? And Emily says in her confessional, oops, my bad. Should I write her a note? I don't know. Well, maybe. Emily, my God. After all of that. So no one was lying. There we go. How about that? And back at the table, Tamara says, I'm just repeating what you told me, that I'm with a bunch of fucking losers. And then Heather says, no. That's a very interesting twist on what I said. Noella and Jen. Ray, Dr. Jen, like regarding Dr. Jen, not Jen Armstrong. Yeah, no, Jen Armstrong. Not this Jen. I forget our new Jen's last name. Excuse me. I'm talking about not these people, as in the people sitting there, the castmates, Gina and Emily, really is who she's referring to, if we're honest. And Heather is again saying her words are getting twisted, which Tamara asks if she's trying to throw her under the bus. Listen, this is where everyone is sticking to their own truth, okay? And it happens to conflict with everyone else's truth is the problem. So, quite frankly, I think that Heather wasn't just talking about Noella and Dr. Jen when she said that, okay? What I do think, though, is that Heather was not being as serious as Tamara is making it out to be. I think this is going to be the same type of thing, right? It wasn't that serious. That was my thought until also seeing some more of the preview for next week, okay? And in confessional, Tamara is saying that she was mocking Heather and that Heather, quote unquote, knew that. And at BravoCon, Tamara saw Heather sitting with all the ladies and walked up and asked her, saying, oh, so you're with a bunch of fucking losers. And that she believes Heather had an oh shit moment, that she remembered what she had said to Tamara. So this is when Vicky gets up saying she's uncomfortable around fighting. I just don't like fighting. And we get all the flashbacks of some of Vicky's greatest hits of screaming and yelling. And she walks over to the server and is just, no bueno. She may as well just, no bueno. Por favor. La humeras. No baño. When fight. Am I right, senor? May as well have just said it that way. Okay. They're all talking over each other and yelling over each other. And Gina is saying to Heather, if somebody is calling me a loser, you should tell me. And Tamra points at Heather and goes, she called you the loser. Heather denies it again, and she goes, just very quietly, I called Noella a loser. Which, can we just not call people a loser? Okay. Actually, I call people that all the time. I shouldn't. But okay, not for nothing here. But y'all gotta admit something. Whether Heather actually did this or not, whether she actually said any of this or not, she's staying very calm. Did you notice that? Because here's the thing, if she were flipping out, everyone would be saying, "Oh, well, if I didn't say it, then I wouldn't be freaking out." I'd be like, "No, I know I didn't say it, so it's not a big deal." And then with her being calm, you just know it's probably going to get turned on her that they're going to be like, if I didn't say it, I would be freaking out. Why are you so calm about it? You know that she can't win for losing, and you know that that's true. See, this is what happens when you gang up on someone. I start empathizing with Heather, which I do. I empathize with her. I don't think they're being totally fair to her. Again, I think that 1000% Heather called Noella and Dr. Jen losers, which I find it very fascinating that she would call a physician a loser, but okay. Because she also clarifies that she called Noella that, but, maybe she kind of said it. I do think she said something along these lines. I don't think Tamara's completely full of shit on it. But I also don't think Heather was saying, if she did say this, I don't think she was saying it in a malicious way. I think she probably was trying to make a joke, and Tamara took that and ran with it and heard losers and latched onto it. So I don't think anybody is right. How about that? That's usually my take, is that I think everyone's full of shit. Okay. So then Gina gets up because Heather's been starting to get up and say, she's done. And in confessional, Gina says that she feels like she's been punched in the stomach. And she says, I've been a good friend to Heather. I've been good to her. I've been defending her. And the whole time, like, you're telling other people nasty things about me. And at the table, Emily says, like, if I'm getting called a loser with all the things I've accomplished, that's a bunch of bullshit. And Heather continuously denies calling her a loser and says, honestly, I'm getting tired of getting taken to task by this group. I get it. You don't like me. Whatever. I'm tired. I've tried to defend myself. And Gina stands up with her and is like, you're the one having conversations about us being losers. So here's the thing, though. They really don't give Heather a chance to defend herself at all. And that says a lot to me. Okay? One of those things is that they automatically believe Tamara when she tells them that and don't pay any mind to Heather saying that she was only talking about Noella several times. That is so odd to me, that the way they have been talking shit on Tamara, and their only issue with Heather is that they find her to be condescending, elitist, right? Like, they are completely conflicting grievances that these women have had with Heather and Tamara. And the only person that they've had grievances with along the lines of trusting them, who they are as a person, the way they move, the things they say, is Tamara. But they believe her 1000%, no questions asked. Isn't that odd? I think it's odd. Okay. Because I'm kind of like, you want to believe it badly enough that you're not even going to question it. Again, I'm not saying Tamara's lying, because I don't think anyone's lying. I think it's the same thing. It's another miscommunication type of thing. It's very bizarre. We've never seen the miscommunications go to this length before. Normally we get it cleared up somehow. You know what I mean? So Gina's saying to Heather, because she's very angry at this point, because, again, she fully believes Tamara without giving her a second to really defend herself at all. And Gina says to her, I've tried to be a good friend to you this entire time, Heather. And Heather says, you're yelling at me in front of an entire table. You're not being a good friend to me. You've never had my back in these situations. How can I have you back when you've talked shit about me behind my back? And Heather walks off, and she's saying she's really done, like fully, literally done. And Heather makes a fantastic point in confessional, which is that Gina is automatically believing Tamara, who she was literally warning Heather about in Montana, and was almost offended that Heather didn't jump on the whole bandwagon Gina was trying to form of saying that Tamara is going to be enemy number one. Isn't that interesting? Because it makes no sense. And listen, y'all, Gina has flip-flopped so goddamn hard this season between Tamara, Jen, Heather. I mean, she, at this point, Homegirl is on sale at Old Navy for $4.99 because it's past Labor Day, and she's coming in 23 colors, okay? Gina loved that spoon reference, the stirring the pot. She's got spoon pockets. Did she bring her spoon? How about a spatula reference? Leftlins. How about a spatula reference, huh? She flipped faster than a pancake. Flopped faster than a fish on a grill. I'll be here all week. No, I won't. Thank your lucky stars. Oh, I'm so stupid. Okay, so Tamara drops her glass on the table and she goes, yo, all right, fake friend. Vicky is getting shots poured out for her because she's feeling so shaken by the fighting. Poor Vicky. And Heather walks over to where Vicky's crying and she says she's done with the show. She's so done. And we get another fourth wall broken. Oh my God. Shannon comes over too. And at the table, Gina's saying, I genuinely thought she liked me. Tamara's like, I thought she liked me too. And Gina's saying in confessional that she can't make Heather be a good friend. Well, you know what, Gina? I can't make you be a good housewife. How about that? Oh my God. You know what? I saw someone tweeted that they will not forgive Shannon. While what Shannon did, getting the DUI, was deplorable, that the more unforgivable thing, take this in jest, was that she secured Gina getting another fucking orange next season. Again, it was sarcasm, but still. And Vicky's saying to Heather how we have to be women of integrity and honor, and how telling her, basically like, I wouldn't put up with this either. This is too much. It's wrong. So the women are all talking shit, excluding Heather and Vicky. The women are all talking shit about Heather and how she has a superiority complex and all this as she's leaving, and they decide to leave too. And we get these weird cuts of all of them saying stuff about Heather, and then a 4 hours later card on the screen. And normally we're like, oh shit. Well, no, it's the Tres Amigas at a club having fun together, dancing on the bar and bonding and just having a blast. It's probably going to be the last time we see these three dancing on a bar now. Yup. It is somber city for everyone. And I'm pretty sure that, well, they should be starting filming like very soon. Very, very soon for the next season. Just saying. At the end in confessional, Heather says that she wants to show Gina that Tamara was talking shit about her and that she has proof. So next week on the season finale, I mean, y'all, how are we already here? That is wild. I can't believe we're already here. Season finale. Scary how time flies. But it looks like it's going to be very good with, we get them in costumes, yelling at each other. I mean, what more could we ask for? Now, there is a question that we did have on YouTube, and it was a question for both Giorgio and I, but since Giorgio's not here this week, I'll answer it myself. So Princess Me 6054 asked if this cast should stay or go, and, she said she would love to see Heather go to Beverly Hills, and she's wondering if OC will become boring again without her annoying antics. Here's the thing. I do believe that Heather, at first, I didn't think that it would be a good switch for Heather if she did go over to Beverly Hills, because part of what makes Heather stick out, like, I'm not going to say a sore thumb, but how about a gold plated thumb in OC, is that a lot of these women are not refined, shall we say. They are very just out there, do their own thing, loosey goosey. And Heather's Miss Prim and Proper, fancy pants. But I think Heather would actually be a great addition to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And she would be a great shakeup, because I think this next season of Beverly Hills is not going to be our favorite one from what I'm hearing. Um, we don't know for sure. But that being said, I think Heather and Erica, they would either love or hate each other. I think that Heather would maybe embrace a little bit more of a villain era there, because here she feels more so victimized. And I think she would feel a little bit more empowered there, being amongst what she probably considers are her peers who are in the same tax bracket as her. But I think that regarding the cast we have now, I don't believe that Gina should have an orange. I'm so sorry. I just don't. I think we absolutely need to keep Emily. We need to keep Tamara. We need to keep Vicky, friend of Shannon. Yes, I'll be surprised I'm going to be anxious, I should say, to see what we get from her regarding everything that just transpired, if we're going to have her next season. I think Taylor is fine as a friend of. She needs to just stay in that role. She doesn't need to hold fruit. Um, and then Jen, I think maybe Jen could stay, but I also would be fine with Jen going to a friend of. I think that she kind of needs her biggest draw in all of this was the drama with her and Ryan. And I don't really enjoy seeing her being tortured over and over for a very egregious mistake, series of mistakes. Okay, we're gonna say that. Um, so but I do think she was a great addition. I would like to see Jen be fully herself. With that being said, I think they could bring back Lori and throw in a new girl. Throw in that Heather Amin. Let her be a friend of. We don't have to have 6 fruit holders. We can have 5. I think that would be perfectly fine too. But I think that they don't need an overhaul with Tamara back. I think they're doing great. Tamara is there, ready to work. She, whether anyone likes to admit it or not, Tamara did the CPR on RO RHOC and brought it back to life. So we'll see what Giorgio has to say about that next week. And friends, if you do have questions, submit it in the comments. I'm always happy to share what I think, whether you like it or not. And I've been seeing some of you have left really wonderful reviews. It is so helpful. I so appreciate you. Subscribe to the YouTube channel because I'm putting in the work there too. I will see y'all, here in a few minutes. I'm having Elle Murasaki joining me to chit chat about Salt Lake City. So I'm doing another one where it's 2 episodes in one day. So while I will see you in a few minutes for another episode, I mean, technically to me, it's a few minutes. I will have Giorgio back next week is the plan. And then so far, I don't usually like sharing the schedule because, listen, people have lives that get kind of shaken up. So I'm just going to say, as of now, I will be covering, well, in total, 3 episodes next week of Southern Charm. And I will have, again, Giorgio on as of now for Orange County for the finale. And then I have 2 new guests coming on next week as of now who have never been on the show before. So that will be really fun, hearing some fresh voices and seeing some fresh new faces. And we're just going to keep it rolling, my friends. Also, just a huge early congratulations to my friend Jessie getting married this weekend. So, anyway, okay, more information than y'all needed. I'll see you soon. Thanks, besties.